for the current booming economy. The former president tweeted this 11 years ago today, nearly the bottom of the worst recession in generations. I signed the Recovery Act, paving the way for more than a decade of economic growth and the longest streak of job creation in American history, end quote. But President Trump didn't hold back, as we know he doesn't. He tweeted this. Did you hear the latest con job? President Obama is now trying to take credit for the economic boom taking place under the Trump administration. He had the weakest recovery since the Great Depression. If Dems won in 2016, the USA would be in big economic depression, ? Joining me now, Mercedes Schlapp, Senior Strategic Communications Advisor for the Trump re-election campaign and former White House Senior Advisor for Strategic Communications. Great to see you. It was good to see you in New Hampshire as well.
Yes, great to see you.
Let's start with this back and forth. The president out on the campaign trail, at rallies, so on and so forth, talking about the economy. A former president jumps in. Take it from there.
Well, I think that President Obama is still trying to be relevant, especially in light of a fractured and chaotic Democrat Party where you have a socialist who's leading the pack right now. So, but it's quite clear when it comes to President Obama and his economic policies. I mean, we ended up with the weakest post-recession recovery in modern history. I mean, you could look at the numbers. While under President Trump, we've seen average GDP growth of 3.6%. Under President Obama, that would be about 1.6%. So it really is substantial in terms of the fact that that the Obama recovery wasn't really a recovery, that it really was President Trump pushing forward a pro-growth, deregulatory agenda with tax cuts that helped to unleash our economic potential, unlike President Obama that spent their time just spending their way through stimulus programs that we know wouldn't create such substantial economic growth.
Let me ask you this, Mercedes, just about the idea of the president coming back on a tweet like that. Would he want to leave it alone, or, you know, what the conversations would be like kind of behind the scenes? You may be curious to answer that, but I want to show you Joe Biden's campaign's rapid response director tweeting this. Barack Obama triggering the president with actual non-alternative facts is priceless. What's your response, and should the president be wading into this?
Well, I mean, Biden's trying to salvage his own campaign right now, trying to be again, relevant in this election. As we know, Biden's numbers are sinking. He's trying to tag himself with President Obama, but as we know, the economic growth wasn't there under President Obama. It was because of President Trump's vision in terms of cutting the taxes, of being able to renegotiate significant trade deals that we know are benefiting American workers. That has really been the huge benefit and economic boom that we are seeing, the blue-collar boom, where the wages are increasing for those blue-collar workers, something that under President Obama, let's remember, he said we needed a magic wand to bring back manufacturing jobs. Well, who's brought back manufacturing jobs? President Trump. He's brought back over 500,000 of those manufacturing jobs that people thought were lost.
You know, I kind of want to jump ahead to something else that caught my eye today, and I was talking about it earlier. You know, you've got a situation on the left right now that you're watching Michael Bloomberg go forward, and he's got a new expanded criminal justice reform plan that he's rolling out today. I received it in my email, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of journalists have. Before I let you go, can you just talk about kind of the point-on-point that the president has against some of these contestants?
Well, I mean, Bloomberg is an arrogant elitist. There's no question that he is out of touch with the minority communities based on his disgusting comments that he's made. Comments like blacks and Hispanics, that they can't perform well in the workplace. Going after our farmers, basically saying that he himself could be a farmer. I mean, it really just shows how out of touch he is with those hardworking Americans, and especially with the minority community. He's too focused on being on an apology tour, and now he's thinking, let me throw out some policy to try to salvage this. We know who the champion has been on criminal justice reform, and that's been President Trump.
Mercedes, we've got a bit of breaking news, and it has to do with the president and some action he's taking right now. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Mercedes Schlapp. Let's get to it.
Thank you so much.
The president is now expected to commute The prison sentence for former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, remember him, known as Blago, and pardon former New York City Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik. Chief White House correspondent John Roberts is live at the White House now with more of this breaking news right now, John, on moves that the President of the United States is making.
There's an official announcement that we're expecting to come out at some point in the very, very near future, but we're hearing from multiple sources across the country that the 14-year sentence of the former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich and former member of Congress, which was 14 years in prison for wire and mail fraud, has been commuted by President Trump. People have actually gone to prison to pick him up. And as well, we are hearing that there is a pardon in the works for the former New York City Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik, who spent 3 years in jail on various charges, including making false statements and tax charges, most of it related to a former nanny that Kerik had in his employ. You'll remember that during the Bush administration, Kerik was actually nominated to be the DHS secretary. That nomination was withdrawn, and after that, that's when the federal investigations began. So there's nothing official from the White House yet. But it appears as though a commutation of the sentence for Rod Blagojevich has been signed by the president, as well as a pardon for Bernard Kerik. So keep it right here, Harris, and when we get official word from the White House, we'll jump on and we'll let you know about it.
All right. John Roberts, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Dozens of new cases of coronavirus now have been confirmed aboard that Diamond Princess cruise ship after hundreds of American passengers